Good evening, everyone, and welcome. You know what? We're going to be talking about the elimination diet, but understanding that it can go way beyond just the foods that we eat. So, expanding our understanding of what an elimination diet means and how it can be helpful for you. There's lots of information today, and we want to make sure that if you have questions, that you can get some answers. And Dr. Justine has made herself available by text 647-987-9355. Feel free to give her a quick text, and she'll be happy to provide some additional information. I wanted to welcome Dr. Justine with us here today. She is our leader here at Justine Blainey Wellness Center. She is an advocate both for health, but also in the community as well. She is a motivational speaker. She is a she is a motivational speaker. She is an author, and she is an amazing advocate. She believes everyone deserves a healthcare team that focuses on prevention, optimal health, and open communication. Please help me welcome Dr. Justine.
Hello, everybody. Got great stuff for you. And no, we are not talking about food today, but we're going to talk about some cool concepts, 5 cool concepts on eliminating things in our lives that are negative. Coming up, we will be talking about 5 ways to manage the holiday stress. So that's when you're just super busy, super overwhelmed. Okay, how do we take a deep breath and handle it? The sit and fit. Yep, I've this the third one doing it for you, mom. That's coming up, followed by natural ways to manage joint pain, and then we're going to talk about how to manage that mid back being super stiff, especially if you spend yourself driving a lot, sitting a lot at a computer. That upper back gets stiff. So this is ways to do those exercises with no equipment. You can do it just at home, just to how to open up and loosen up that upper back. So, a lot of great stuff coming up now, and we're planning for the new year. So, if you have topics you're interested in, we're now planning into February, March. Please don't hesitate to contact us. We'd love to help you and do a talk just for you and the topics you would like to learn more about. So today we're talking about the elimination diet beyond food. We're talking about dealing with obsolete beliefs, those beliefs you don't want, keeping score, how to deal with being indecisive, dealing with needless clutter in our lives, and our common time wasters. So, number one, these obsolete beliefs. We want to drop grudges. Now, this is super hard, right? To forgive everyone, forgive everything. Whether it's a parent we need to forgive, a friend we need to forgive, a coworker. I can give you examples in our office where people sign, 1 year contracts and then, quit two months in, or redecide 2 months in, where you have challenges dealing with a flood in our office right now and figuring out, yes, it's costing thousands of dollars, but we've got to manage this flood, even though the water's not coming from our office. So, yes, there's opportunities to find ways to forgive. Sometimes it's just taking a big breath and realizing, how is this going to affect my entire life? Like, is this going to affect, if I look at being alive for 8,500 years, what is this event going to do to my whole life? And do I want it to define my life? No matter what, the forgiveness, this emotional stress, that is for us, right? That helps us. That doesn't, it's not for them. They don't need to say, I'm sorry, in order for us to forgive whatever has happened or whatever has hurt us. And I don't think anybody lives in a world where, everything goes perfect and everything's the way you want it. Um, I know for us, for example, we deal with patients at the office who are, when they're in pain, they're grumpy, they can be rude, especially on the phone. But it's not them; they're just not themselves. And you probably found yourself that way with someone you love, you care about, where you've spoken more harshly than you need to. And that forgiveness, you're just so grateful for it. So again, forgiveness is for us. It helps us, and when we drop these grudges, we eliminate these grudges. That gives us freedom. We have to purge our prejudices, purge prejudging. Let me reframe, instead of prejudices, prejudging. Whether we judge some people on their height, I mean, I'm short, so of course, you get the short jokes, but also being too tall. That all of a sudden you're tall, you're a basketball player, you're a volleyball player. your weight, any other unhealthy habits, judging somebody by the food they eat or smoking or the alcohol they drink, showing up with that healthier than thou or I'm better than you sort of attitude really doesn't serve us in being able to be the best person we need to be. So, very, very careful in judging others based on where they're at and just focus on our own bubble and what we can do to improve ourselves. And number three, with our beliefs, is removing self limitations, defining ourselves by our words. I just went to a presentation with Dr. Murphy, which was amazing. He talked about the nevers. How many of us say, I never will blank, blank, blank? I will never skydive. I will never play hockey. I will never eat sushi. I will never eat whatever it is. I can't handle hot food, so hot peppers, whatever that never is. How do we change those to not yet's or later's? So instead of things like I'm a great starter but a poor finisher, I'm just a great starter and I'm learning to do better. I'm never on time. I'm on time most of the time, right? So changing our wording and changing our beliefs of our about ourselves will help us. For example, I'm too old to learn. With wisdom, with time comes wisdom, right? So the more you're never too old to learn, you're never too old to play a sport, learn a new instrument, learn a new song, learn a new way of artwork, creative writing. Never too late to get fit, never too late to get healthy. So I'll give you an example. Growing up, I had asthma. And I used to suffer with those severe migraines, asthma before I found out about chiropractic care. So doing the 12-minute run at school was absolutely torture for me. I'd always be like, and I would, collapse literally through that 12-minute run. Could not run the 12 minutes in a row. That's why I played hockey, right? Short shifts. And even short runs, I would rather do the speed runs than long distance running. So I never thought that I'd do run 10 kilometers, let alone a half marathon. And grateful for the friends at the time that I committed to, and over the year learned to run those half marathons and even beyond that. And that you can work with health limitations to become better, to reach your dreams. Just because we have other limitations, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, we can get there when we just with a team around us, a team of support with health professionals, friends, and family. We can achieve way more than what we can even see and believe. And so, the key about getting rid of these self limitations is who you surround yourself with. Like I said, it was the runners I was with, the docs I was with, that helped me get to that level and kept me accountable as I added those kilometers to be able to run that much better. Number two is keeping score. And I got to tell, I'm not good at this. My brother and I, like whatever he got, I wanted, and whatever I had, he wanted. We wanted to keep score all the time, like whether it was for desserts or points in a hockey game or your plus minus it because we play defense. Literally, like I remember even as a kid getting warts removed and competing because we got a sucker afterwards to make sure we got the same size sucker. Like it was just crazy how much we would keep score. But if I look back at it, I realize that it could be a defense mechanism to try and just always try and have fairness and equality. And when I try and do with my own kids, I realize it isn't fair. My son and my daughter would say, no, they're completely different individuals. They require different kinds of attention. I know with my daughter, we talk daily. My son's probably better, every 2, 3 times a week. He would feel nagged if I called him every single day. And even just with finances can be different with respect to their sports can be completely different. So this actual thought of complete fairness and equality maybe isn't a reality, and we just have to find a way to do our best. And sometimes it can be a form of selfishness that can become an obstacle to find other attractive and surefire ways. So, for example, we can focus on trying to keep score rather than just giving, just being generous and focus on that generosity. So, even when my staff at the office, um, I do my best to have all the gifts that match their personalities. The guy who loves his sweaters, I try and get him a sweater. Person who loves crafts, get them something for crafts. The person who loves gardening, get them something for gardening. But I'm not keeping tracks of the cents and the dollars. I'm trying to keep track of the thought, rather than full keeping score of time or keeping score of finances. Keeping score sometimes is a way of avoiding the obligation of being in someone else's debt. So oh, you shouldn't have, no, please don't do that. For example, bring flowers or wine to someone's house for dinner over Christmas. We don't have to keep score of whose house we go to, what quality of wine we bring. Again, we want to focus on the sentiment of loving and being generous, rather than the number of acts of kindness, or the type of wine. The key is spending time with the quality people, the people you love in our lives, um, and whatever serves our mission and our goals. This form of comparison, I played the compare game. That person's slimmer than I am, faster than I am on the ice, runs faster, more fit. We can smarter. I with my husband, he can learn so much faster. He reads, and he memorizes, whereas I have to work harder. I'll read 3 to 5 times, so what? I put more time in, and we get the same result. And I can just be proud of how he can do that, and then proud of my own work ethic, and we're both going to get to the same end point. So, this keeping score and comparing back and forth is a recipe for feeling less than, a recipe for feeling crappy, really. Whether they make more money than you do, um, they have more friends on Facebook, they get more likes, uh, they make more money, they have a better house, they have a nicer car. Who cares? The reality is we want to focus on, instead of keeping score, how about just the love tabs, the keeping score of the good feelings. That's where we want to be able to focus on, and knowing that we're going to bed and we're just at night, what we're grateful for, and what the opportunities we have to give. And so that's why we have our food drives and our toy drives and our coat drives, and just even going to church or finding your different community groups. The more we give, the better we grow that love bundle inside. Number 4 is getting rid of needless, sorry, I got to go to number 3. um Indecisive, the shoulda woulda couldas, are definitely signs of indecision, procrastination, having a lack of purpose. So, definitely, anytime we hear that shoulda, woulda, couldas, we want to change that wording to I will, I can. And as we change our wording, we will be able to achieve whatever our personal goals are. So, I will and I can. And if we can't use those words, then they're probably things that are not important to us and we should drop. Sometimes we do write out those goals, and some of them just really aren't that important. Instead of holding them as pressure on our shoulders because we didn't achieve it, and or that I will do something, maybe we just have to let that one go. We As we're chasing opportunities, be wary of that options will continue to open. So we would just want to leave that space for something else. And an example for this is if you go to a party and you're having a conversation with one person, but you're looking for who else is coming in the room, or you're with one person who's really important to you, but your mind is on something else, another post, another activity. The key is to really focus on the people now, the people who are in front of us, the way we can give to them. And in turn, we will get better out of that communication. So, yeah, it's putting our phones away, but also just putting some of that negative thought away, or whatever the merry-go-round that's going on in our world. That's difficult for me. My husband would say that my merry-go-round's going all the time. And he's more like a train, one thought at a time, and focus on that one thought at a time. So, if there are other people, women who have that challenge, definitely sometimes it's a conscious thought of saying, all right, I'm putting that aside and I'm focusing on what I'm on right this moment because this person is super important to me. And I know sometimes it's just refocus. You can do it. Let's focus right now. Now, number 3 is the fear, and making the wrong choice can sometimes create paralysis, um, but also sometimes just indecision is a decision. And realize that we can just keep moving on, right? A lot of things are not irreversible or that we can't sort of redirect after that. Think about over the last 3 years how much we've had to redirect. I never used to do talks like this online. I always loved that in person moment, but I realized we can reach more people this way. So sometimes just making a quick decision and moving on rather than being stuck in a spot or being paralyzed by that spot or in that moment of just constant second guessing. So just decide and go. For example, with our Facebook marketing group, my initial group that we had, it was like $30,000. It was so expensive. I'd never been on Facebook. I didn't know a lot about it. It was a big fancy company. They sold me on it, and it didn't work to serve anybody. It didn't get one single person in the door. And the reason for spending that money was so I could help others, but I made a decision and went with a new company, and immediately that started to work better. And we've got to meet new families. This is just so appreciative of the opportunity to meet new families. So don't give up. Sometimes we're going to make some wrong decisions, but we make decisions, go to the next. If it's not working, be quick to redirect, change our direction. And that can happen with different types of things in our own businesses, even in our own families, and sometimes even in healthcare, where we have to do what we do call as a progress exam. Check where you are. Are we on the right track? Or do we need to identify a new route and new things that we need to add to our personal health care? Number 4 is getting rid of clutter. Now, this one I love because I do not like clutter. I know I spent COVID purging bags and bags and bags of boxes. Um, when we have clutter, it just affects our focus. It can affect our purpose. It can affect our discipline. So sometimes we can think of that clutter as a mental equivalent of personal hygiene. So if your desk is an array of all sorts of papers that you haven't found either a spot that's important to file away, put away, that might be equivalent to having bad breath. Or if you have tons of unfiled activities, papers, projects on the go, whether it's in your garage or in your backyard or in your at your desk, that might be like tartar on your teeth. And even those messy drawers, those messy storage cabinets, that might be, yes, it's behind the door, the cabinet, but that might be under your clothes like body odor. So just thinking about what can you purge to make our lives simpler, whether it's magazines, papers, audio cassettes, those old equipment, old phones, books that you'll never read again. Looking at things that you can, games, toys, I know is huge. Clothes, that is huge. It literally, if you haven't used it in a year, it's not likely that it's going to be that important. Put it away. Find a way to purge it or to, recycle it to somebody else that might need it better. I know others might not see inside your junk drawer or under your sink, but you know it's there and it causes mental stress and it actually wastes time as you go to that. So just taking a weekend and saying, I'm going to do one room. Yes, to do the whole house might be overwhelming, or your whole office, one drawer a week. Can make a massive difference to just clear the clutter, allows for better mental clarity through your whole day. So clean out, recycle, discard, organize, and streamline. Let me say that again. Clean out, recycle, discard, organize, and streamline is one of the ways for number 4 with your elimination diet. Number 5 is common time wasters. Especially it's really, really easy to get chit chatting, whether we call it the water cooler time. That's been a little less these days, but I know that it's easy to get caught talking about things that are super important, whether it's the weather that we can't control, sports that we can't control, or anything equally unimportant, is just to find ways. Yes, we want to connect, but focus on some, if we can, more important topics that are about family, about goals, about visions, about our future, about things that we need help with. Are some of the topics that we want to aim towards, especially as we're getting together over the Christmas holidays. Realizing our time is super sacred. So, this is one of the things when we're eating dinner, for example, the phones are put away. We don't want anybody checking Facebook, checking Instagram, but it's easy to get sort of, thinking about two things at once, right? Like trying to multitask. And I'm equally guilty of this, trying to, laundry, dishes, and, preparing dinner or preparing something for the family. So we want to make sure that, yes, we can multitask, but be cautious that when we are with the people that really matter to us or something that's truly sacred, there is nothing else in the way. So for me, that might be time preparing a speech. That might be for example, my adjusting time. I tell my team, never disrupt me during my adjustment time. I will not have my phone on me. My time with my patients is absolutely focused time. And I usually take an hour every morning before the shift starts to do mental, physical, spiritual preparation for that shift to be the best doctor I can be. So that is sacred time for me where I do not want to be disrupted in any way in order to serve my patients better. So find out what is sacred for you and then put those double yellow lines around it and let everybody know around you that this is super important to you and you do not want to be disrupted. So a funny example, my son, when we're doing all this homeschooling, he used to put a sign on his bedroom door, exam in process, do not disturb, or being proctored, do not disturb. He had these funny signs just to make sure that we would never even knock on his door. And finally, the third one with time wasters are digital devices. Whether it's Netflix binging, I often hear about that, that stayed up late because I watched the end of those shows. Set an alarm clock, a timer to say stop so that we don't get sucked in, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. These are all time wasters. And there's a time and a place. For me, I set that sort of 20 minutes at the end of the day to help shut down my mind, but I'm not checking it throughout the day to make sure that throughout the day, my true focus is on serving my patients. So find out what your double line is, your double yellow line, set those parameters, let the people around you know what those are, and then stick to them and let them help you in sticking to them by teasing you if you get a little off purpose or, stuck on that show, that Netflix show. So, how does chiropractic fit into these elimination diet tips? Is that chiropractic helps remove stress. And for all of these topics, we need to remove stress in order to be best. So, we talked about getting rid of those negative beliefs or those obsolete beliefs, keeping score, comparing does not help, being indecisive. We need to be able to make a decision and go getting rid of our clutter that's not needed, just one drawer, one cabinet at a time, and trying to put those yellow lines around those time wasters. But as a chiropractor, what we do is help that brain and body connect better so that we can actually feel better, function better, have better sleep, have more energy to put those steps in place. We get rid of those interferences from our brain and body so we can be our best, breathe better, um, and sleep better so that our digestion's better. All of our organs are working at their best because the brain and body is not interfered with those subluxations. So subluxations are those misalignments of the spine that really twist and turn on the spine, pressure on those nerves. And only 10% of the nervous system is pain. So you may not even know you have these problems going on, but you just feel tired, you just feel sluggish, or you just can't keep up. So we do offer complimentary meet and greets as an opportunity to ask questions, to meet the team where we have massage therapists, acupuncturists, chiropractors, naturopaths, nutritionists, all working together physiotherapists working together to serve you so you can learn more about who could be on your healthcare team to help you be your best so that you can, put some of this elimination diet into place in a stress-free way. So stay tuned with us. We love all these great topics. We have ways to manage holiday stress, our Christmas sit and fit, natural ways to manage joint pain, stiffness, pain relievers, and how to open up that mid back so you feel looser. Coming up in the new year, we have pelvic floor exercises, hip mobility, upper shoulder exercises, and way more. So we are constantly trying to give to you, your family, and friends. So connect with us and share this information with others. Have a wonderful day. I hope that you attack just one of these 5 elimination diet activities, and then you'll be better you in order to serve your goal. Because in the end, we're trying to be our best in order to help our family, our friends, and our community. Take care.